Good evening and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I am Vedant Agarwal. Our big focus at this hour on NDTV. Well, the Punjab and Haryana High Court has set aside a Haryana government law that promises 75% reservation to locals in private jobs. Now, which kind of private jobs are we talking about? We're talking about private jobs that have salaries of less than 30,000 rupees per month. And what all does it cover? Well, various privately managed companies, societies, trusts, also limited liability partnership firms, etc. And there's also a political fallout of this judgment by the Punjab and Haryana High Court as well, because the JJP, the Dushyant Chautala-led JJP, had, in a sense, made this law a huge political plank as well in the run-up to elections. It did benefit them politically, but this comes as a huge setback to the Haryana government, to the Khattar-led government, and also the JJP. It comes at an interesting time as well. In fact, just today, the Congress in its manifesto in Telangana had promised 75% reservation for locals in private jobs. Of course, it's election season and these populist measures have become the norm as we go along. But of course, ultimately, it is going to impact job seekers, job aspirants in Haryana. And of course, as I said, it will have a huge political fallout as well. Mohammad Ghazali is now joining us live on the broadcast with the latest. So, Ghazali, the essence of the petition seems to be that this particular law, in a sense, infringed on the constitutional rights of the employer because it imposed on them this sort of reservation cap and the imposition that 75% have to be locals. Take us the details of the copy of the order. What all did the High Court actually say?
See, the High Court has indicted the government or sort of wrapped the government, saying that it's almost like an Inspector Raj, because the law suggested that one of the local officials of wherever that any private entity, company, trust is located and which doesn't abide by the law, a local officer will go from the Employment Generation Department. He will go and look for the records, that how many employees are there. Does it fall under the ambit, or is it eligible to apply for this law, to come under this law? So whether this law applies to that company or not, and how many local people the said entity or the company has employed from Haryana. So all these, the Supreme Court has found that this entire rigorous law, where an official can get into the premises of a private company to check their records and also force the private entity to follow that particular law, the court has said that it reminds us of an Inspector Raj. But what is the more interesting thing about this entire law being struck down by the High Court thing is that this law was brought by JJP. This was part of their manifesto ahead of 2014 assembly elections, when they're fighting the elections on their own, alone. After the elections, they joined hands with BJP. They became in power in the alliance government here. And now, very interestingly, even after an hour or two after this order came out in the High Court, there has been no reaction from the BJP ministers in the power here. It is almost like when the BJP brought in the Love Jihad law or anti-Love Jihad law in Haryana, the JJP was vehemently opposed to it. I had personally spoken to, and we had aired the interview of Mr. Dushyant Chautala, who had opposed the Love Jihad law. Now, in the same way, the JJP's election promise of providing 75% reservation to the local youth was not openly opposed by the BJP.
Right.
But what everybody is understanding from the given situation is that had BJP or the government lawyer defended the law in the High Court vehemently or with full support, this would not have been struck down. So, interestingly, the opposition parties also are not criticizing the government for this law. None of the parties are opposing the law. Rather, they are criticizing the government that they didn't present the case properly in the case, or the law.
It's across party lines because, as I said, the Congress, the BJP, all of them have announced these populist measures and they become even more the norm in election season. Thanks very much, Ghazali, for joining us with that quick update. Also with me now on the broadcast, Dr. Adish Agarwala, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, also an eminent jurist. With me also Prateek Shom, a lawyer and national spokesperson of the JJP. And Urvashi Verma, Head of Talent Acquisition for APAC. Thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast this evening. Going across to you, Prateek Shom, first, a body blow to one of your main political planks and something that you hailed as one of your major achievements. How do you look at the Punjab and Haryana High Court order, and what is going to be your legal recourse now?
There are two aspects on this development today. One is the legal aspect and other is the political aspect. So on the legal aspect, we are yet to receive the order. We will go through each and every detail, and it is very certain to say that we will challenge it in Supreme Court. Just to give you a background, that this matter has already reached Supreme Court when the initial stay was given by the Punjab and Haryana High Court, and we went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court lifted that stay and remanded back this matter to the High Court for its final consideration. Now it has been finally decided by High Court, and now I think when it has been quashed, we will certainly be going to Supreme Court against this order.
Okay,
On
so
the
that's an important point
political
then.
aspect, yes,
Go
on the
ahead.
political aspect, I can tell you with all my conviction that this is one single law which can resolve the biggest problem of Haryana, that is unemployment. We have already taken a stand that when industries they ride upon their prosperity on the cheap land which has been taken by a farmer, on
So
the
you
tax
still
soaps,
stand by
on
the
the
law.
subsidies,
You still
on the
stand by
let
the
me
essence of
complete.
the law, and you
Let me
say that you
complete.
will
Yes.
go to the Supreme Court. Okay,
Let me
Urvashi
complete.
Verma, let me get you in on at this point. As Mr. Shom is mentioning, this is a law that could, as far as what his party believes, could resolve the problem of unemployment. What do job seekers like you, and you are an employer as well, do you think that this law infringes upon your constitutional right, that you can't freely hire or acquire talent based on what you think are the skills or qualifications needed for that particular job?
Definitely. All companies are focusing on skill-based recruitment and not for a specific area only, because organization need different skills for different work. If we have, different people reaching out to different employers in Haryana, definitely there is a growth of a state as well, because diversity in the population will bring innovations and new technologies, and new companies will develop. New startup companies can start from Haryana. We are seeing a lot of entrepreneurs coming from Haryana, but no companies are starting from Haryana. They are moving to different states because they have, benefit of hire people from of different skills of different states. All companies are looking for diversity in their organization, because diversity bring lot of different perspective to solve any problem, and innovation happens. So if we just focus on one population and don't focus on diversifying, then probably it will not grow Haryana as well. I'm not sure about political or any other aspects, but to grow a country or to grow a state, definitely we need different perspective and different.
That's a very
people
important
contribute.
perspective there that you bring to the table. You say that as an employer, you would want to encourage diversity in your organization, which is why you think that this law is in a sense against that. Dr. Adish Agarwala, come in on this very quickly, and a quick comment from you on this court's observation that this is unconstitutional. On how many levels do you think it violates constitutional rights of the employer, employee, and even when we talk about the Supreme Court 50% cap?
See, this was not appropriate, and this is good that the Honorable High Court has passed this order. The government can't force the private entrepreneur for 75%. This is nowhere, even in government or in private sector, it can be done. And especially in private sector, because private sectors, they have set up their units in Haryana with a purpose, because this is nearest to Delhi, and they can hire the best talent from throughout India, not only from India, even from foreign countries, because you must be seeing in Gurgaon, in Faridabad, and other industrial places. Even the entrepreneurs have engaged people coming from best staff from foreign countries also. So that was the High Court has taken right decision. This is within their right. This was violative of the rights of the private entrepreneur. And this is, what Madam was I was hearing, that they would have gone out from Haryana. You see, when Prime Minister was the Chief Minister of Gujarat,
Yeah, and that is in a
entrepreneurs.
sense the essence of the Punjab and Haryana High Court order as well, that it violates constitutional rights. But of course, as the JJP spokesperson just said, that they will be challenging the order in the Supreme Court. Remains to be seen how this pans out. But of course, it is an important development, something that concerns thousands of people in Haryana. Thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast this evening.